It all started waking up at 3:30 in the morning to catch my 6 a.m. flight. I was an idiot and booked a super early flight and then had a hotel check-in of 3 p.m. in New York City. So good job, Eric. Try to get some sleep on the plane, awkwardly filmed myself, hoping the guy next to me wouldn't wake up. Got my bag and headed over to Arabica Roasters, which is in downtown Brooklyn. Beautiful view of the Brooklyn Bridge. Felt like a movie scene, like one of those. It's just one of those moments where you're like, wow, this is pretty cool that I'm here and experiencing this. I was editing photos, I was eating a pastry and coffee, just loving life. And I kind of love races that aren't peak races for this reason. I just kind of get to enjoy my trip and do things here and there. But I was carrying my bags everywhere, which kind of sucked. Walked around, got some footage because I was also commissioned for a job for some filmmaking on this trip as well. So kind of balancing work and running this race. By the way, it's a Brooklyn Half Marathon. Didn't say that at the beginning. Trying to go for a PR. Ran a PR of 1:15:57 last fall. Hoping to get around 1:14. I think A goal was under 1:14. B goal was just making sure I got under 1:15 and got that PR. If I got under 1:15, it'd be a PR of a minute. After I finished up at the coffee shop, went over to Timeout Market, got some pasta, starting that carb load. Really only did a 24-hour carb load before this race and didn't really track anything extensively. Ate a bunch of bagels, ate a bunch of Go bars, ate a bunch of pasta the day before. Just packed it in as much as I could there. Some G1M Sport as well, the carbohydrate electrolyte mix that BPN has, and just really packed it in those last 24 hours. Was later confirmed in a Instagram reel I saw recently, like the science backing that. In the marathon, I want to do a 2-day, 48 to 72 hour carb load before. And half marathon, I felt like it was only necessary to do the day before and morning of. So got that pasta lunch and then met up with my friend Daniel and Grayson. Daniel is a BPN athlete, the Irish Yank, and Grayson is a friend that I met back in 2020 in the filmmaking industry. He helped me film some of this footage of going to the expo, getting my bib, and they gave me Corral B. I have no idea why. I still don't remember why I got assigned Corral B. I think it was because I had to put in a time, like my best time for a New York Roadrunner race. And the best time I have for a New York Roadrunner race is my 2021 New York Marathon, which was a 3:11. And so that put me in B Corral, I think. So I'll get to that and what I did in the race, right, when I get to that footage. But bib pickup was super easy. It was on one of the Brooklyn piers facing the Manhattan skyline. So that was pretty neat to experience that, and just a really chill expo. And I got back over to Manhattan, just rode the train over. I had a hotel at Hotel Indigo, is on the down by Wall Street, Lower Manhattan. Super nice room, relatively affordable compared to all the other rates. Still stupid expensive. It was like a $400 hotel room, so super fun. But it was really nice and accommodating. Everything I needed. Trains close by, easy access to Brooklyn, all that good stuff. Haven't been trying too hard to carb load. Did a bagel, 2 Go bars already today, pasta for lunch. We're going to eat pasta for dinner. I'm going to grab some more bagels at the market, just kind of load it last bit in. I didn't do great with it yesterday. It's not a peak race. I haven't been paying too close attention. Just one of those, like, go out and see what you could do. But we're going to go on a run with Daniel now, the Irish Yank, my BPN teammate, and he's running tomorrow too. We just went to the expo. And we're going to have a mandate for pasta. Go bar down the hatch. We'll shake out 3 miler. Gonna grab some pasta with him, I think. Come back here, get off the feet, lay down. It's gonna be a great 48 hours. This was one of those moments where, like, I always dreamed of going to New York as a kid, like ever since I watched Home Alone 2. It's one of my favorite movies ever. And it's just living out the dream of being a kid in New York. Look, Mom, I made it. This is Manhattan. And now I'm a running influencer. No. No. How are ye?
What's the story? Right, go.
All right. Oh, double camera.
Double camera action.
Don't run too fast now. You got a 1:14 to run tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Make sure 3 miler.
I'm in the city running. I'm in the suburbs now. So.
Yeah. But then you have like Nico.
It's a game.
He's out there running on like no hills, no people, no cars. Easy money, baby.
113.
113. Actually, I think 112. 112 sounds better, like the 2.
For you, not me.
Well, yeah, oh yeah. This will be tomorrow morning, right? We're gonna line up at the start line.
Side by side.
Side by side, and then.
And then Danielle and I went to his favorite pasta spot a little bit further north in Manhattan. We sat down and had a meal. Is that what it's called? Pepperoso?
Pepperoso, yeah.
Pepperoso. Pepperoso. Thank you.
Look at that. Alright, get this bite. I'm gonna burn the mouth myself probably, am I?
Maybe not.
I'm gonna get the meatball. Oh, so good. Best Italian restaurant in New York City. Pepperoso. Solomon and Houston. Not Houston. You doing a vlog of the trip?
I think so. Absolutely devoured that pasta, penne pasta. Got back on the train, headed back to the hotel. At this point, it was about 6 p.m., maybe closer to 7 p.m., and just needed to make sure I had my lay flat all good to go, all of my nutrition ready to go, race kit, all that good stuff. Final plans. Had to plan my train ride for the morning and get to sleep. All right, it is currently 7:44, and I'm just laying out everything. The kit is laid out, did my Instagram reel, that fun stuff, all that's ready. Have my plans for the morning, taking the train, the 2 over to Brooklyn, and then meeting up with Kyle, who's filming. It's gonna be awesome. Got my drop bag ready, got a Go Bar packed Recover in there as well, a bottle of Recover, got a hoodie. I'm gonna put these jogger pants in there as well, just so I have the ability to be warm in case I'm cold. Hotel card. I already did 2 scoops of G1M. This will be another 2 scoops before bed. I'm on my second bagel this evening. I'm gonna eat this muffin. I got some fruit in the fridge as well. And a cold brew coffee for the morning. Get the caffeine in. I think I'm pretty much set. I don't want to overthink it. Feel like I'm overthinking it. But I'm pretty sure everything's in place. And we're just going to have a good day tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun to send it. I love this distance, and it's going to hurt a lot, but it's going to be a good hurt. They say that 2 nights prior to race is the most important sleep. I only got like 4 hours that night because I had the 6 a.m. flight like an idiot. And then I think I only got around 7 hours of sleep the night before race, which is pretty good. Very dark hotel room, had the blackout blinds, all that good stuff. So then I woke up at 5 a.m. I usually shower the morning of a race, but I showered the night before, so I just started getting dressed. Got the full kit on, socks, shoes, everything was ready to go. Gave myself enough ample time to make sure everything felt great, and enough time to get to the subway. Because I know on mornings like this, especially in New York, if people are all heading to Brooklyn, there's a very good chance that the trains would be totally packed. Thankfully, they weren't super packed, so that was great. I went the route Google Maps told me to go, but I got down into the station. It was totally the wrong one, so I had to go another block, and I started to kind of panic a little bit. Not a great feeling. Thought about getting an Uber, but went and checked out another stop. That was the right one. It was confirmed by other runners going down to that stop, and other runners sitting, and even another runner was on the opposite side, and they were like clearly New Yorkers. They're like, wrong side. So that gave me the assurance I was going to the right place. Walked out of the subway and immediately started getting greeted by some of the subscribers, some of you folks that follow on the channel. I don't remember everybody's names at the moment, but it's still not lost on me that that happens in real life and in the corral and leading up to the race. And I so appreciate it. And just so you know, if you see me in real life, please come up and say hi. I would love to chat with you. All those stories are incredible. I love hearing them. If I can help you at all in the moment, I was talking to Max in the corral, and we were going through his race plan for this year and what he could do to improve his time. So that was really cool. I got off on the north side of the start line and kind of got into the corrals the opposite way. I don't think I was supposed to get in that way, but I just kind of worked my way in and then realized I was trapped, and I had to awkwardly go past security the opposite way to get to bag drop. It was a whole ordeal. Got my bag dropped off in time and then had to walk all the length of the corrals to get back up to Corral B. That's where I met Max, and we were just kind of hanging out outside the corral. Finally went in, used the porta potty, got that done. Got it done in the hotel room and got it done in the porta potty. So it was good to go there. I still had my throwaway sweater on, so I figured after my conversation with Max, we're about 25, 30 minutes from race. I saw that there was just like a thin rope kind of dividing the corral. So I'm like, well, you can't see my bib right now. I'm just going to kind of duck under there and get into a corral, because I knew that I had a chance to be in like the top 200 of this race, and there were literally like 1,500 people in front of me. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I'm going to be weaving for 2 to 3 miles. So I got up to A, I pressed up as far as I could, and I found Dylan. Found social media list Dylan, except he does have social media. We found Sam Bland and I, the guy who ran Chicago with me, Sam, my good friend. Last fall, we ran with Dylan in the first half of Chicago. We were pacing 6 flat pace that whole first half, and then he dropped us like a bad habit the second half. But we remembered his name, and then we were never able to follow up with him. So I saw him in the corral, and I came up to him, and I was like, Dylan? And he was just so confused. He just had no idea who I was. It was awesome. And like, he was just like a celebrity to me. So I'm like, can we take a photo? And he was having fun with it. Eventually he's like, oh yeah, here's my social, like we should connect, da da da. So we got the photo together, which was awesome. But he connected me with his friend Al, who was going for a 1:14. And I can't remember Al's full name. I think it was Alicio, but he just told me to call him Al. So Al and I hung for a lot of the race together, and it was really good to like have a friend knowing that he was going around the same pace as me. 1:14, breaking 1:14 or 1:14 low is kind of what we were hoping for. So corral was great. Vibes were high. Found my buddy Tommy in the corral. It's easy to find him. He's like 7 foot tall and sponsored by On, just looking like the model he is, literally a model. And we kind of pressed up around the corner into the start line. It was cool because they set the corrals one way, and then as soon as they're ready to line you up, they like open up that side, and then you turn left to go south into Prospect Park. And so everybody starts moving, and it's not like you're corralled in the same place the entire time, but you get to like move your legs, walk up, and then get packed in for national anthem and gun. So that's what happened. Really quick. It was only about 5-10 minutes where we just kind of, you do that like butt kicks, knee raises, all that stuff, kind of hopping around as you're walking up. Go, national anthem, then we were off. And it was super fast to start. Everyone was just flying down this downhill. The first half mile of this race is just down, and then you turn into the park and goes up for the second half of that mile. But that whole first section is all down, and everyone's just cruising. And the road is wide there, so that's good. But once you turn the corner into the park, it is split in half because it's an out and back that way. So you only get the right side of the road, and that's where it started to get kind of jammed up. And that's why I probably ran a 5:50 or 5:52 my first mile, because that section was also uphill, wasn't trying to run super fast, and it was really packed. So once I clocked a 5:52, manually split that first mile, I was like, I need to start moving. So I started to press on the gas. And I got to mile 1.5 where I found Kenny for the first time. It was the first footage we had inside the race that wasn't filmed by me. And Kenny found me mile 1.5. We were rounding that loop around the structure by Prospect Park on the outskirts of it. And he asked me then, he's like, how you feeling? And I was like, like it's like that hill kind of zapped me already a little bit, and it's not feeling as easy as I want it to be. So I didn't say all that, but I was like, it's probably gonna be a tough day, but let's hang in, let's do it. And so just tried to keep it manageable, keep it around the 5:45, 5:40 pace. And then we got a nice downhill because this is the opposite of that uphill. And then we started cruising. I think I hit like a 5:37, something like that. And it felt like I was starting to get around people that were wanting to run that pace, which was really great. So we sent it pretty good down that hill, still felt pretty manageable. And you turn right further into the park as you do that, after you do that out and back. And I remember around the 5K mark, I was feeling really good. And I looked down to my watch and I was running like low 5:30 pace. I think I was around a 5:35 to 5:32, something like that. Like, it feels good. I just want to kind of keep riding this. I feel like I'm running within myself. So I passed a pack that I was kind of trailing for a little bit, got ahead of them. We turned another hard right turn into the park with another big uphill into mile 4. That's where I took my first gel. I also took a gel 25 minutes before. So I took the apple cinnamon 25 minutes before. I took a mixed berry at 3.5 on this uphill going into the next section of the park. That hill didn't feel great. Leveled out, still ran a high 5:30 something, I think, or 5:40 around there. And then the hill going into 5, that section of 5, I think it was mostly mile 5, was just a killer. It was like 70 or 80 feet of gain. It was around 25 to 30 meters of gain. And yeah, it just totally zapped me. I was staying like within effort and on pace, but I think I ran a 5:50 or a 5:52 mile on that mile. And when I got to the end of it, I had some really negative thoughts because I was thinking, if I feel this bad, like before halfway in the race, it's just not good. So we rounded the corner again and hit another downhill. And it was just this game of feeling really bad and then feeling okay again, feeling really bad, feeling okay again. And it really helped, like the amount of experience I have in racing now. In those tough moments, I was talking to myself thinking, especially in a half marathon, I know it's the case where you feel really bad at some points and you just come out of that darkness and you have to find your way out of it. But the only way you can find your way out of it is running through it. So I did, and I found myself on the opposite side of those feeling pretty good. So coming out of the 10K mark, right around 6.2, there's a massive downhill out of the park, out of Prospect Park into mile 7. And that's where we just started rolling. And that's where the race really started to spread out. Kenny found me again, and then Kyle picked up on the bike, and we were just cruising on that downhill. So much so, I think we lost 90 feet on that hill, something like that, 30 meters, and I ran a 5:28, I think it was. So really opening up the legs, really cruising, and that felt good. So we went into mile 7, a bit of an uphill onto the highway, down to the highway. That didn't feel so great, but once we hit the straightaway, just started rolling again, high 5:30s to mid 5:30s for 3 or 4 miles. And that was just so monotonous. People were telling me that, yeah, that section of the Brooklyn half is technically downhill. It's just a net downhill all the way down, but it's barely downhill. And you're just doing like tiny little rollers the entire time. So everyone kind of cohesively at the end of the race was like, yeah, that didn't feel like a net downhill. It just felt flat and almost even kind of uphill. When you have that kind of steady down for that long, it almost feels like you're running uphill sometimes with how monotonous it is. But there was good crowd support here and there along the way. And what I really latched onto is I just kept, the rhythm of, we get to mile 8, I'm like, okay, 2 more miles, make it to 10, then you only have a 5K left. And it was just that whole concept. Ryan Hall, his phrase, like, run the mile you're in, just stay focused, look at the back of the person in front of you. And that's what was so helpful through these miles was we were packed up in a pretty solid group of all these people still maintaining around that 5:40 to 5:45 pace. And I was able to just lock in with that group, and I kind of made it a pact with myself that no one was really going to pass me. And there weren't that many people that ended up passing me. I think I was overtaking many more people than were overtaking me, which is always a great feeling. And that's mostly just because I was able to maintain, maybe just slow down a bit in the second half instead of really start to fall off. I ended up not taking the last gel that I brought with me because I know I can get pretty nauseous in an effort like this. I said in the race video, running a half marathon's super hard because it is towing the line with threshold. Like, if you race it correctly, you're basically staying right under your threshold. You're like right at lactate threshold just before for the first half. And then you dip into threshold in the second half or the last third of the race if you're running it right. Because you're only really able to maintain that threshold pace for, 4 or 5 miles. And that's where you should really be kind of redlining it at the end there. So, yeah, I felt like I raced it really well in that capacity. I never looked at my heart rate. I pretty much exclusively went off of feel and only looked at my mile pacing to try to maintain that goal and make sure I was at least going under 115, which I barely did. But yeah, I chose not to take that last gel, and then started to realize once I got past 10, I started to feel some gas brewing down under. And it was that feeling of like, don't trust a fart. And it was painful. Like I was just holding it in, and that bubble guts kind of just searing pain in your stomach kind of vibe, but don't fart because you might end up with a horrible surprise. And yeah, I was just maintaining all the pain of race and then that as well. So, and it goes beyond like how I prepped. It's very similar to how I prepped for the marathon in Boston. So it's not that. I found out that my kids back home like had stomach stuff while I was gone. So I think that might've been what I had as well. And then, after the fact, I'm sorry if this is TMI, but I was on the toilet like the rest of the day. And that happens to me sometimes when I do an all out effort like this. So there's probably two things in one. And then puking is a problem for me as well. Just when I push my body to that extreme, I tend to just not be able to hold it back. But yeah, last few miles were just an absolute grind. It got really strung out. It was just, kind of if you fell into pacing with someone, they were either slowly pulling away from you or you overtook them. And it's just a lot of yo-yoing and no real pack anymore. So you're just kind of isolated and you're trying to latch on to people in the last three. So I kind of hovered around that 5:45 mile pace in that last 5K. I was really struggling with my stomach in the last half mile. That last stretch getting up onto the boardwalk into Coney was really brutal. And I wanted to open it up and sprint, and I tried, and I sort of did, but not nearly the same as what I'm usually capable of doing because of the pain and the fatigue. The race photos are hysterical. Like it looks like I'm in the most pain I've ever been in a race in those photos. And, yeah, as soon as, I think I saw I had maybe 100 meters left, and I was, right around 1:14:30 or something at that point. And I knew how close I was to the finish line. It was maybe 10 seconds away. I was at 11 or 1:14:40, and then just dipped under with a 1:14:54. So super thankful for that. Again, my brain was so far out of my head that I lapped my watch again instead of stopping it. So didn't hit the manual split on mile 13. Completely missed that sign, and then forgot to stop the watch at the finish line. Got this clip and immediately went to throw up again. I had already thrown up, and then I threw up again on video. We don't have to put it in there. But yeah, then that's just some of my thoughts after the race. Ooh, nice puke. I'm feeling good now. All right, I think I went 1:14:45 maybe. I don't know. I forgot to stop my watch again. So mad. Thank you. What a brutal race. Got very hot in the last 5K. Thank you so much. Ooh, that's sick.
I know. I was like 1:14:52.
Thank you. What was it? 1:14? Awesome. Thank you.
You just finished the RBC Brooklyn.
What do you got next? What's your marathon?
Grandma's. Let's
Grandma's. June 5th?
June 18th, I think. 2:35 or bust.
Let's do it, baby. And then, yeah, I was just kind of glued to the porta potty for like 15 minutes after that. Bag pickup was insane. At least in a marathon, they have enough time to like get from point A to point B to the finish line. I felt like this distance with an hour and a half, not even, just like an hour to get from the starting village to Coney. Just not enough time. So everyone was just piled up as they were still unloading bags out of the truck. And it was just this frenzy of people holding their bibs in the air and trying to get their bags. But we got it. About 20-minute wait, but we got it. Kyle met up with me. He had to ride his city bike all the way back to the park. I felt so bad, but shout out Kyle for showing up and helping film that day. Wouldn't have had a video if you weren't there. And shout out to Kenny for getting that footage earlier in the race as well. So appreciate you guys showing up and helping in that capacity while Cyrus was on a family trip. Super easy to find the subway again. I knew that the orange line just ran right back up to Manhattan. So orange, that's not colors in New York, it's numbers and letters. I don't know. Found the right one. Had another conversation with somebody on the train it's really hard for me to remember names, so I'm really sorry I'm forgetting your name, but we had a really great conversation about his progression and his PR that day, and just, yeah, it's so fun to be able to, I just didn't have a boring train ride. Then I just got to have an amazing conversation the rest of the ride. So again, thank you for coming up, saying hi, and having exchanges like that. And just kept it chill the rest of the day. Had to check out of my hotel room, and then was able to meet up with my buddy Chris Chu. The BPN team is in town because Hella had his 7-year daily running streak party the next day, which I sadly had to miss. But Tony, Hope, and Lily were in town along with Danielle. We went to dinner, got Chris to come along, and we just had an incredible time at Dan Churchill's restaurant in Dumbo, and it was phenomenal. Had a New York strip, and it was just an amazing way to celebrate the end of the night, the end of the day, the end of the trip, the end of this new PR. I'm so thankful that I was able to race this race to come away with a PR without doing a peak training block. I still don't know if I'm really ever going to do, I'm thinking like maybe I do Houston half in 25. I come off Chicago, come off the fall marathons, and put in a half marathon build into Houston half. That's an idea. But if you guys have any ideas about maybe running a peak half, I'm open to those ideas, but I'm really wanting to target these marathon blocks super hard. As we come out the fall, I'll have to figure out what I want to do for the spring, whether it's grandma's or not Boston again. The BAA is just after me. So, yeah, I don't know. That's stuff for the future. We have a ton of exciting races coming up this summer, 5K, hopefully 10K, another half marathon, Hidden Gem, and then Chicago. And Indy Monumental is a backup if Chicago's weather's horrible. So thank you for tuning in. I hope this breakdown was helpful. Till next time, Floberg runs. See you there.